Hey all, this is part 17, and we're going to be transforming a string into an array. So if we have join, we have split, and they're essentially sort of opposites of one another. Whereas join will let us take an array and join it into a string, split will let us take a string and split it into an array. And it works almost identically in terms of you can join on something and you can split on something. So let's start with the case that is least useful, which is to split on nothing. And I'll show you what I mean by this because, as you'll see, it's like there's your split string. It's just an array now, which is kind of JavaScript being a little sassy, but that's okay. So now that we have that established, what happens when we do not pass any arguments? Let's go ahead and pass an argument. In this case, it's going to be an empty string. If we pass an empty string to split, it's going to create an individual element out of every character in the string, which can be very useful for getting around the immutability of strings. So if you have a string that's immutable, you could split it into an array, if you have a string that is immutable, you could split it into an array which is mutable, and then you could just reassign one of the values and then join it again, which is just one example. And then we could have another situation where we want to split on an actual string that's not an empty string. So in this case, we're going to get the same result for all A, B, C. So there you go. You can also do this with variables. So here's the kind of useless one again, where we're going to split on nothing. So it's like, hey, here's your array with that string you wanted me to split, but you didn't tell me how to split it, so I didn't. But I gave you an array anyway. And then here's one where we're going to break up an input string into individual characters. So we just have like the letters in the word. So there it is, networking. And finally, we'll have one where we split a ostensible sentence into the words in that sentence by splitting on a space. So we run this, we'll see that the elements in the array are going to be approaching the end of operation method, which we are, because this is near the end of arrays, and then we've got objects and nested structures left. So we are going to complete a function that takes in two string parameters, string to be split and splitter, and returns an array that is the result of splitting the string to be split parameter on the splitter parameter. Your function should create a split string variable and assign it to a call to the split method and return the split string variable. I remember part of me thinks that I'm making those sentences a little bit more difficult to parse, as things will get more difficult as they go, but I'm not entirely sure. So you might see a different version of this, or you might see this. In either case, below are examples of the code running. Assuming that you will have completed the described function, apply split. At this point, we should be well versed in what's about to happen. Paste in our stub, paste in our coding test examples, create a split string variable, assign it to the string to be split dot split on splitter. Say that 10 times fast. Then we'll return our split string variable. So if we run this, we should log split string. Oh yeah, because that is the split string into first, second, and third, because it's splitting first, second, and third on this double hyphen. And then git push origin master is a very common git command in the terminal, which don't worry about any of that, but you'll know what that means later on. And we're splitting them on spaces, so we end up getting one word per element in the resulting array, which is what we want. So we can decide that this is working correctly enough to at least give it a try. And if we run that, we are elegance itself. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one.